Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming to you from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Jonathan Voico.
Pat yourselves on the back. You made it to Wednesday.
And, of course, Robert Meyer-Burnett.
John, I want a chorus to follow me around going, "Fantastic Rob," just wherever I go.
It is great music.
I love that.
It is fabulous music. But most importantly, of course, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. And here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a few predetermined topics we got lined up for you guys. And then, of course, in the second part of the show, well, that's when we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, question, or issue you'd like us to discuss, as long as we deem it appropriate to be discussed on the show, go ahead and fire it on into www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. And here's the good news about the tip link. It's actually good 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you happen to be listening to the show later in the day, either on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or your favorite podcasting app of choice, or if you're watching this video a little bit later in the day on our YouTube channel, you can still send in a topic or question. And if you send one in when we're not live, well, we'll just get around to answering it on the next episode. All right, guys. With that down, I'd like to call today's episode, Rob, my love letter to AMC theaters. That's what I'm going to call today's episode. We'll get around to why.
Are you going to get Mr. Aaron and call him on the phone?
Maybe send him some flowers, some nice chocolates, take him to dinner, call him back the next day. We'll get to that stuff a little bit later. But for now, we got some other topics to discuss, and we're going to start off with this. You know, Captain America, I almost called it Brand New Day. Captain America, Brave New World. I had hopes for it. I mean, I love Anthony Mackie, and the Sam Wilson character is really cool, but that was a movie that ultimately disappointed me. But I did think the trailers were pretty good. I thought the trailers for were pretty good, but there has long been some discussion, especially once the movie came out, some criticism leveled at Marvel that they should not have shown Red Hulk. That Red Hulk in the trailer was essentially a spoiler, especially after people saw the movie and realized that the Red Hulk emergence was a major turn in the story that happened well into the third act. So a lot of people criticized that, and I was overall disappointed with the movie, not because of the Red Hulk stuff. But now the director for Captain America Brave New World is basically coming out and saying this, that, yeah, according to this headline in IGN, Marvel had to spoil Red Hulk and Captain America Brave New World trailers, director says. It's just so hard to keep anything secret in today's age. Now, they write this. Now, Brave New World director Julius Ona said that Marvel had to show Red Hulk ahead of the film's release, as the villain's appearance would have been leaked regardless. When you're making a movie like this, an announcement goes out that Harrison Ford is going to play Thaddeus Ross, and you have a fandom as massive and as passionate as the MCU fandom is, you're toast at that point, you know, Ona told Empire. In a perfect scenario, it would have been awesome if that had been an in-theater surprise, but I think it would have been very difficult, he continued. Somewhere along the way, a toy would have been found. He ain't kidding about that. A toy would have been found, or somebody would have leaked a trailer. It's just so hard to keep anything secret in today's day and age. All right. Do I think, in general, that having watched the movie, that I think it might have been a good idea to not reveal Hulk? Yeah, or at least Red Hulk. I think in principle, that's true. But I think there were two reasons, Rob, why they had no choice but to put Red Hulk in the trailer. And we'll start off with the one that the director gave. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. It would have gotten leaked. As a matter of fact, I think even before the trailer came out, didn't like a Wendy's toy or something like that get revealed? Like,
because there was that delay in the release.
Oh, yeah, the delay certainly hurt too.
And then they had to keep moving with production, so they just released it. Yeah.
So somebody in the warehouse somewhere saw this Red Hulk toy and
McDonald's.
got out. And of course, was it McDonald's?
Yeah.
And of course, we live in a day and age where every single one of us, well, just about every single one of us, walk around with an audiovisual global communication device on us. It's just not something they could keep secret. It's just, they wouldn't have been able to. So I agree with him on that. They also did a pretty good job, I got to say, in the trailers of not making that feel like the third act. So it at least felt like it was a part of the movie. So it was a little bit of a surprise to when it came out in the movie. So I get what he's saying. The second, though, Rob, reason I would propose why they really had no choice but to do it is simply this. They weren't going to sell any tickets. I mean, literally putting Red Hulk. Listen, we talked about it. I remember when that trailer came out. When Red Hulk came out, what everybody talked about was, oh my God, Red Hulk. Nobody talked about, look how cool Falcon looks in his new outfit. Nobody talked about the cinematography looks particularly good. I mean, some of us were talking about the fact that they were finally getting around to Tiamat in the ocean with the Celestial. That was the thing. But on one hand, even if it wasn't for the fact that they knew it would get leaked, I would suggest they almost had no choice but to put Red Hulk in there because they needed the marketing. I mean, they weren't lighting the fires to get, and even with Red Hulk in there, the movie didn't make a ton of money. It didn't completely crash and burn, but it underperformed a little bit, and that's fine. But so yeah, I didn't particularly like the movie overall, but I do agree that in principle it would have been nice to keep Red Hulk from it. But Rob, I got to say, I agree with the director. I really don't think they had another choice but to put him in the trailer. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think that's probably true, but I like the way that these Fantastic Four trailers, we know Galactus is in the movie, but we haven't seen like Galactus's face. And we haven't seen like, is he in his ship?
Well, we kind of have.
Well, not really.
Well, we've seen the artistic renditions.
Well, but we haven't. They haven't shown us like a full-on Galactus shot in the trailer. If he says "I hunger," whatever. Yeah. And I think that there's a way to compromise. I mean, that Galactus is in the movie. They had, from the very first trailer, they had the cool silhouette, of Galactus over the Statue of Liberty and over New York, which I think is cool. Because it's telling you that Galactus is in the movie, but they're not giving you a full on, like a Twister end shot with a cow flies at the screen. You don't see a final. They haven't resorted to that Galactus stinger, which I think is cool. So there's a way. I mean, I think they showed too much of the Red Hulk in the trailers, and because they showed like this shot of Harrison Ford screaming or the Red Hulk screaming. But they could have just teased it a little more. Sure, but I mean, but you're right. Nobody would have gone. They revealed Red Hulk in the trailer. Yes, they have revealed Galactus. Yes, and I agree with you that maybe they could have tempered how much they showed. But then that goes to the second point, right? It's like how much in that movie is sellable in a trailer. Right. I don't know that there was much that was sellable in a trailer. But Harrison Ford turning into a giant red rage monster. That sold some tickets. I'm with you 100%. I mean, he's not wrong. It's like you've got to sell something. Yeah. You got to sell sizzle. And this is going to be a problem moving forward now, right? Like because here's the thing. Not only are we all walking around global communication devices, but movie crews are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. They're shooting in more and more locations, like keeping stuff like this completely secret. Hell, I'll even go back to the Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire thing. There were literally confirmed reports that they were going to be in Spider-Man a year before that movie came out. There was video footage of Andrew Garfield in it that came out 4 months before it came out. And then some unnamed YouTuber posted some pictures that he thought were fake because of lighting on a crotch, who I can't remember the name of the YouTuber's name, but that happened too. But I mean, like even a year before, it's almost impossible today. If you're going to have a character in a movie that spends more than 3 or 4 days on set, quick little cameos, you might be able to keep that under wraps. But Rob, how do they moving forward in this evolving world where this information is getting out faster and faster? How moving forward do they try to not let stuff like this get out? I think the only way you can maybe curtail this is if, like I just showed you, there's that new viral video that they put up of James Gunn directing the Superman robot scene, and you see Alan Tudyk behind the scenes. And if you develop a relationship with the audience from the beginning in terms of how you're going to market the movie, and I think they've done a good job of that with Superman. Like James Gunn has been out front and center while they've made the movie.
That's true, yeah.
And so by doing that, you kind of look, there's always going to be, we all know in the fan community, people love spoilers. People love to be, I'm the first guy that knows this. I'm going to go on the internet and spill it. There's always going to be that. But if you take the audience with you on the journey and get them on your side, so they don't want to hear spoilers. They want to have they want to have a relationship with the filmmakers and the material, and you know, they want to be they want to help bring the experience forth that we all want to have. Like I really was able to stay pretty spoiler free for Avengers Infinity War. I didn't want to know. So it was hard, but I consciously I'm not going to look at that. You know, I kind of went on an Infinity War blackout. And I have to tell you, it helped my experience. I love that movie, but when I had no idea what was coming. And I was sitting next to John Schnepp in the El Capitan on Hollywood Boulevard, you know, and like when I had no idea Red Skull was going to be in that movie. I turned to John Schnepp and he didn't either.
No, I didn't either. My jaw was on the floor.
I know. And we were I felt like I was 6 years old with my best friend and we'd eaten too much cotton candy at the Puyallup Fair. Man, I couldn't believe it. And it was such a great experience.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
I don't know how you do that again.
I'm sure that dude was on set for one day. So
Right.
they could keep that under wraps.
Yeah, I mean, but I didn't know anything. I mean, the whole movie was like that.
But that's you as an audience member shielding yourself. How does the studio keep that? Because whenever you shoot anything outdoors, like for example, the Supergirl images that have come out, right?
Yeah, with Lobo.
Those pictures weren't taken from anybody on set.
No.
Those pictures were taken from somebody's apartment.
Yeah.
3/4 of a mile away.
Right now.
With a super telezoom lens. Like, unless the only thing is you can only shoot indoors from now on. Anyway, it's going to be an ongoing challenge for movie theaters to do this. And I don't think the Captain America director is wrong. I don't blame him for this statement. I blame him for a subpar movie, but I do not blame him for this statement because I actually think he's right about this. Anyway, whatever you guys think about this, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's talk about this, shall we? Last night was pretty cool. I went to the Ballerina LA premiere and after party last night, and it was a good time. Now, you guys know I don't go to any press events anymore. I do not accept press invitations to anything. Last night was a unique situation where I was actually personally invited to go as a guest, not as press. I didn't go with a press badge or anything like that. I was just personally invited to go. So Anna and I went and had a good time. Actually, here's a picture from it here. So like Keanu Reeves came out. He was the first one to come out to introduce everything and gave a tribute to, what's the name of the guy who was the guy who passed away from the John Wayne?
Lance Reddick.
Lance Reddick. They gave a big tribute to Lance Reddick there, and his wife was there
That's
last
nice.
night as well, which was great. So you had Stileski there. You had Len Wiseman, the director. There's, of course, Anna de Armas in the middle, right beside, back to the picture I've got on here. Right beside Anna, you had Ian McShane, and then Norman Reedus was there. And I don't know the name of the actress that was right beside him. I think, I almost gave away a big spoiler. Never mind that. So I went to go see it. And here are my thoughts on From the World of John Wick Ballerina. Terrible title, by the way. I want to just call it John Wick Ballerina or John Wick Universe Ballerina. I don't know. Whatever.
A Star Wars story.
Yes, a John Wick Universe story. But here's my thoughts on Ballerina. I said in my out of theater reaction, I just got out of seeing Violence Orgy, the movie.
Yeah.
Guys, I cannot emphasize this enough about this movie. There are two things I really got to emphasize. Number one, there ain't no nominations for best screenplay coming in Ballerina's future. That ain't happening. Okay? It's not that great. Screenplay is not that great. But there's not a lot of talky in this movie. It's all punchy and stabby and bang. I was telling Rob this morning, if you took the actual ratio, and this is not hyperbole, I'm not exaggerating. if I actually took a stopwatch and broke down the ratio of the amount of time action was happening on the screen versus the amount of time that there was no action, this might be the most action ratio in Hollywood movie history. It actually might, I might be wrong about that, but it might be. It just never stops. The movie starts with a young ballerina, little Eve, talking to her daddy. And that's the longest talking scene in the movie. After that, it's just punching and screaming and owing and bones breaking and stabbing and like, it's just violence, 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 violence.
Yeah.
And you know what? As somebody who's going into a John Wick universe movie, that's exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for the stabby, and we got a hell of a lot of it. Like, it's just, sometimes I'll even say, I wasn't even sure why certain people were fighting, but they were fighting and it looked cool and it was pretty badass. And every fight had something completely unique about it. Like, how can we use dinner plates in a fight scene? How can we use this, I won't give it away, this common household item in a fight scene? How can we use, you've seen this in the trailer, so it's no, how can we use flamethrowers, not in a flamethrower, in a fight scene? How can we use, and they're just constantly coming up with like all these creative ways to use everything to kill people with. So there's that. And on that level, incredibly satisfying. But here is my absolute favorite thing about Ballerina. You guys know who've watched me for any period of time that my number one complaint about the John Wick films, and I love them. I love the John Wick films, but nothing's perfect. My number one complaint about John Wick films is that in the original John Wick, we were introduced to John Wick as the Baba Yaga, the name that when even mentioned, the heads of Russian mafias freeze in fear and in silence. Nobody messed with the Baba. He was the boogeyman. And then in John Wick 2, 3, and 4 is just another guy. Whatever. Oh, somebody wants to kill John Wick? Yeah, I'll go take my shot at killing John Wick. It's just John Wick. Who cares? Blah, blah, blah. The mystique of the Baba Yaga was so powerful in the first movie was kind of disappeared. And that's always been my biggest problem with those movies. The Baba Yaga is back. The Baba Yaga is back. Now, you guys have seen in the trailers the scene where she goes, "You're him, the one they call the Baba Yaga." Like, that happens in the first act of the film. You've seen that scene. And you've seen this scene in the trailers where he at some point confronts her. I'll let you know he reappears in the third act of the film. That's where this happens, third act of the film. And the early reports of it saying like, hey, Keanu Reeves is not just a cameo in this movie. Absolutely right. It is absolutely Ana de Armas's movie. It is not Ana de Armas, Ballerina, and Keanu Reeves, John Wick. It's Ana de Armas's movie. But I'd say John Wick is in a good 20 plus minutes of this movie.
Wow. That's cool.
And I'll only give one example of how they have brought back into this world the mystique of the Baba Yaga. And there are several, but I'm going to give one. And I'm not even going to give you the context. But there's a scene where some people are about to go into the room because they're trying to take down John Wick, as happens in every John Wick movie. And one of the guys finally says, "I'm not going in there. That's John Wick." And I audibly said in the theater, finally. Finally. But it's, without giving any more examples, that oozes through the entire time he's in the movie. Is like, oh shit, it's the Baba Yaga. Like it, and I love that they brought that back. I love that they brought that back. And you see in the trailer that him and the ballerina get into a conflict, right? You're gonna love that fight. You and I, if you're a John Wick fan, you're gonna love that fight that they should give us, that they hint at in the trailer there. Anyway, so there's that. Ian McShane isn't in a ton of the movie, but when he is, he's fabulous. Angelica Houston, who was also there, by the way, last night. Again, not a ton of the movie. She's in it more than Ian McShane. Great in it. And one of my favorite guys from one of my all-time favorite movies, Usual Suspects, Gabriel Byrne, is the big bad guy in it.
Oh, wow.
And you meet him right away in the movie. So he's the big bad guy in the movie called The Chancellor. Is his name. And I love seeing him and everything. So look, this ain't Shakespeare, folks. You ain't going to go in this movie getting any screenwriting tips and great narrative story arcs. But if you're just going into the Ballerina looking for a John Wick kind of experience, Rob, I think you're in for a good time, because that's what all of its shortcomings, it delivers a high quality John Wick experience.
That's all I'm looking for.
So this isn't quite Hamlet. It's Hamlet the Reckoning.
It is, yes, somewhere along those lines. And oh my God, story-wise, they do some really stupid things in this movie. I'm not even going to allude to them, but they do some pretty dumb things story-wise. And I didn't care. Because and by the way, Ana de Armas is a born action star. A born action star. And you know what really comes through in the movie? They put this out in one of the preview clips, so this isn't spoiling anything. But like, there's the scene that we saw in one of the trailer where she's training fighting, right? And she's fighting this guy. And then she's told, you keep trying to fight on his terms. They will always be bigger. They will always be stronger than you. You are never going to be stronger than them. Stop trying to be stronger than them. You're never going to weigh more. You're never going to be this. You must change the terms of the fight when you're fighting somebody who's bigger and stronger. So we saw that in one of the preview clips.
That's really cool.
Then it's reflected in all the rest of the movie. You know, some action movies, like I love great female action stars, but sometimes in movies, like they'll show the female action star, unless they're a superhero, like overpowering a much bigger guy. And that loses, as you would say, verisimilitude,
Yes.
right? Not in the Ballerina. The Ballerina fights in such a way that she's like, I'm physically weaker than you, so I'm going to kill you these 45 other ways.
You got to be faster.
And it plays out, and it feels true in all the bonkers action that happens. Oh, it's just a really fun movie, dude. Again, all the complaints that you're going to hear about this movie coming out, and you won't hear anybody complain about the action. You're never going to hear a single person complain about the action. Any other complaints coming out of, I have no problem with, and I have no rebuke for, because all the other complaints that may come out of it may very well be justified. Because there's a lot wrong with this movie. But it's a fun experience, and I enjoyed myself. So
That's good.
This
That's all
is
you
what
can
you've
ask.
been looking forward to, right?
It is. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I love the John Wick movies. I mean, the first one is my favorite, obviously. I think it's a great movie. The only thing I'd ask you is, do they do any interesting more extension of the world, like the table, the
Yes. Although, thankfully, the table is not even mentioned in this.
but there's the John Wick universe.
There is
mythology.
a fundamental, like you see in the trailer. Again, I'm just repeating things that are in the trailer.
Yeah.
That the Ballerina's gone rogue, and that the director, Angelica Houston, of the Ballerinas, I forget what they call the something Roma is the name of their organization, whatever. She has to send John Wick to go stop her, right? And bring her back. He goes, you can leave. You think you're here to kill me, or you can leave. Your choice. That's in the trailer. There is fundamental lore and world building. That's the reason for that.
Ruska Roma.
Oh, that's
the
cool.
Ruska Roma is what they call it.
That's what I wanted. You know,
Yeah, so they
I wanted
expand
more
the lore of the John
That's
Wick
what I
universe
wanted.
here.
As long as
Yeah.
there's more John Wick lore, I'm in. Because that's that flavor that I love about the John Wick franchise, is that all the lore of it all. So good. That's all I want.
Yeah,
Action and
so-
lore.
Dude, I think if you're going
Story
into
my
this for
autobiography.
as a normal movie going experience, and you're looking for a lot of things like a great story, good character development, all those things that I appreciate and value very highly in a movie, this might not be for you. If you're going in for a John Wick movie kind of experience where you're looking for crazy action, wild choreography, and all this kind of stuff, and some really wildly creative kills, I think you're going to have a good time. Go check it out. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think? Are you excited about the Ballerina? I'm not quite sure how good it's going to do at the box office, to be honest with you, but I do recommend you go and check it out. Whatever your anticipation level is, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's talk about this, shall we? Superman is now 1 month and 6 days away. Really 1 month and 5 days away, because it comes out, what was it, July 11th?
Yeah.
Which really means July the 10th. So we're 1 month and 5 days away from, or 6 days away, I should say, from Superman coming. And of course, the marketing machine keeps on going. They haven't taken their foot off the gas on this. And James Gunn got online and released a whole bunch of character posters for the new Superman. And some of them look really good. Let's go over and take a look at some of these things now. So, of course, there's this one. This one we kind of saw, but this is the one, we've already seen this one, but this is the one that James Gunn kind of led off with, giving us our Superman.
Metallo's pretty cool.
How about this one? I like this poster.
I do too. It's cool.
I think that looks really cool. What's
It
that?
feels like Universal, like, monster movie. You get that vibe of, like,
That's
the Mummy.
Yep. It's got a little, what's the name of the original actor who played Dracula? Boris Karloff.
Karloff, yeah.
It's
Bela
got a little bit of
Lugosi.
that feel to it.
Karloff played Frankenstein.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's
Bela
right.
Lugosi,
That's right.
yeah,
Boris,
yeah, yeah.
but it's got a little bit of a Boris Karloff feel to it.
Yeah.
All right, next one up. We got The Engineer, which after seeing the stuff they showed us at CinemaCon, I am very interested to see
Yes, me too.
how they handle this character. So the Engineer one looks pretty good. Oh, then we've got, why am I freezing on the actor's name?
Frank Grillo.
Yeah, Frank
Grillo.
Grillo.
Right. As Flag Senior. Again, first of all, I'm more excited to see him in Peacemaker season 2. I'm actually more excited for Superman, but I'm more excited to see him in Peacemaker 2.
Now, does his hair go white in Peacemaker season 2, or do they change it for
It does
Creature Command?
not.
Okay,
No,
so
because
then
in the animated show, he's got white hair.
white hair. So I wonder if they change
I'm
it in Creature Commando season 2 to dark.
I don't know, but I
Maybe
was expecting
he
them
went
to
to
dye
the
his
hair
hair
club
white.
for men and got some dye or something.
Yeah.
Because he's got naturally salt and pepper hair.
Hey, you washed that gray right out
I
of
think
his hair.
he should have just dyed a white for it. Anyway. All right. What was the next one up?
I remember that
I should do
commercial.
that.
And of course, Crypto.
Crypto.
I listen for everybody crying, but when they put the dog in there, and listen, and I admit I was one of the original people crying about it. Before I saw footage and I heard they were putting Crypto in it, I admit I was one of the guys going, do you really need to put the dog in there? I admit it. He's going to be one of the big selling points in this movie, man. I
Dude,
guarantee.
he's the Grogu of the Superman universe.
That's exactly it. People are going to be talking about Crypto after this movie, man. I guarantee it.
I want a 1-to-1 scale stuffed
Oh.
Crypto.
1-to-1. That'd be so creepy. You just have a dead dog in your.
I got a stuffed dog.
My other 4 dogs
Went
will
to the
tear it apart.
taxidermist.
We'll see how Kryptonian you really are, dog.
All right. What was the next one?
All right, these are cool.
Okay. You were just showing me footage of robot number 4.
Yeah.
Alan Tudyk playing K2SO. I mean, robot number 4. By the way, and again, the stuff they showed us at CinemaCon was pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot more than they've shown because there was the back half of the scene that we showed that has not shown up in any of the trailers that were out to it. It was pretty funny.
There's this great moment in the footage they showed us at CinemaCon where Superman says something to him like Superman's about to leave, he says, "Look after Crypto, but don't let him manipulate. Don't let him beg you into give him whatever." He goes, "He cannot, for I do not care if he lives or dies." And I'm just like, yes. But it's very K2SO. It is very K2SO. What was the next one that they had there?
Hot girl.
The Hot Girl one. I'm telling you what, the thing that got me most excited for Hot Girl in this movie was number 1, Last of Us season 2. Because she is turning into just a kick-ass actress. She really is.
She's also, there was a behind the scenes thing with her on and Last of Us, the cast of Last of Us, they
Right.
were asking each other questions. She's really smart and funny.
She is sharp.
Yeah.
She's intelligent. She's quick. And she's really talented. The second thing that got me really excited for Hot Girl was watching the trailer for Peacemaker. like her interaction with Guy Gardner and like talking about the popcorn and everything. I'm like, I want to see more of this girl on screen.
Yeah.
So that poster looks pretty good.
She is a movie star.
Yeah, she is going to be a big star for
Yeah.
a long time. All right, and what?
Oh, we got a couple more. And speaking of the man of the hour,
Oh, you know, I remember thinking it was interesting when they said that the Green Lantern they were going to have in Superman was actually Guy Gardner. I would have thought, like, I even would have thought Kyle Rayner before Guy Gardner, but they did. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Then they said Nathan Fillion was going to be playing him. I'm like, okay. And then I saw him in that quintessential Guy Gardner haircut. I'm like, okay, I'm on board.
You know what I like about the fact that this Guy Gardner is in the Superman movie? Because they're planting the seeds of recreating one of the most famous DC comic moments from the 80s that happened in the Justice League. And it happened between, I won't say what it is, but it happened between Batman and Guy Gardner.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about. Yes.
And we're going to see it.
Yep.
And James Gunn, it might take 3 or 4 movies to get to wherever that's going to happen, but it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's going to be glorious. And I can't wait.
one last but not least.
And of course, oh no, there's one more after that too. But anyway, we got Mr. Terrific, who, again, I'm like, why put Mr. Terrific in there? I didn't really like the iteration of him in the Arrowverse. And I don't know. I thought there were other characters you could have gone with. But I'll tell you what, every bit of footage I've seen him in there, he actually looks something like someone you don't mess with.
Plus,
like,
he's a great actor. He's one of the main
no, he's
characters in For All
terrific.
Mankind.
He's
I
terrific.
love him.
And I'm getting more and more on board with them using Mr. Terrific. Now, there was a Lex Luthor one too.
Oh, that's the only one. There should be, right? And that's the only one found it. Here
Did
we
you
go.
find it? Okay.
Yeah.
So and then there was the Lex Luthor one
go.
who just, man, I think he's going to be a good Lex Luthor.
I do too.
He's going to be a good Lex Luthor, man. So again, just character posters, but I like them. Any of them stand out to you? Which one do you like the most, Rob?
Well, I think I probably like the crypto one the most.
The crypto one. Bring up the crypto one again.
Because you know what it is, the crypto one, the robot number 4. The way that it's using this very simple color scheme, the Superman colors as if he's whooshing by behind him,
but he's just sitting.
It's selling me on the tone.
Yeah.
The tone of this movie and the tone of this movie. You know what I'm always saying? Where's the joy?
Yeah.
Every one of these. Look, the Superman robot, whether it is or isn't, he's smiling. In this picture, he's happy to be here. And that robot. When I see a smiling robot, I'm in. That just puts a big grin on my face. Now, is it the godlike, awe-inspiring, Cavill-esque Superman? No, it's a different flavor. And that's what I think is important. I think that, and look at this. This is like, even this, there's a kind of, he could be your buddy.
Yeah.
This Superman could be your pal. You could go golfing with him. And now, I don't know if we necessarily, that's a good thing yet. I'm sure it probably is, but I enjoy that. I like the fact that everybody in this movie seems approachable. Even Lex Luthor. I'd go interview him for Designing Hollywood.
Hey, by the way, I just want to say, Devin Burns in the live chat is asking, why do y'all think robot number 4 specifically got a poster and none of the others? From the footage they showed us at CinemaCon, he's like the head butler.
Right.
Yeah.
Downton Abbey, what's the name of the main butler guy? Mr. something or other. So like, he's like that guy from Downton Abbey. He's the main droid. So that's probably why and it's Alan Tudyk doing the voice. So that's probably why he gets the main one there. Anyway, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about the new character They are just character posters, but it's fun seeing them and all the characters that are getting their own things. Which one is your favorite one out of them? Anyway, whichever one is your favorite, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, with that down, we still have a number of other things to talk about, including we're going to play a little game of what's more likely. AMC Theaters has just made the awesome decision and announcement to add more commercials before they start playing a movie. Isn't that smart and intelligent and not completely fucking stupid? Amazing. And on top of that, a brand new Fantastic Four trailer spot's been released announcing the release and the now tickets on sale for Fantastic Four. We're going to talk about that and a few things more. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second to thank one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at Hungryroot. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Hungryroot. Okay, so I'm sure you guys can all relate to this. Spring hits and suddenly life goes from like 0 to 100. Busy season is officially in full swing over here. And honestly, who's got time to go grocery shopping? That's where Hungryroot comes in. See, because Hungryroot is like having your own personal shopper. I told them my goals and they started curating groceries for me that actually fit my life. Be it smoothies, snacks, salad kits, even ready to eat meals. All clean ingredients, no artificial junk. This week, I got the grilled turkey tenderloin with pesto grilled veggies, and it was amazing. And I got my usual protein-packed snacks. It's like they're learning my taste better than I even know myself. And the best part is, I don't have to waste time driving to the grocery store and wandering the aisles. That's time I can spend doing literally absolutely anything else. Guys, I love Hungryroot. Take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/Campea and use the code Campea. That's hungryroot.com/Campea, code Campea to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. hungryroot.com/Campea, code Campea. And thank you to our friends at Hungryroot for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's go on to this, shall we? A little bit earlier today, I jumped into the community tab and posted, or the posting tab there, and I asked our viewers if they had any situations for us, any scenarios for us for a little game of what's more likely. A bunch of you guys sent in some topics, and we picked out a few of them. So, Jonathan, what do we got up here first?
First up, Connor Diaz says, John, what's more likely, Fantastic Four or Jurassic World Rebirth having a larger opening weekend?
Ooh, that's interesting, because whenever we put up these call for questions, 99.8% of all the ones that come in and will Superman or Fantastic Four have the biggest opening weekend? Like with thousands of them every single time. That's a little different. That's actually interesting. And I'm going to say something that might actually surprise you. I think it is more likely that Jurassic World has the biggest opening weekend. Again, there is a number of things working against Fantastic Four. We've had a whole bunch of them in the last bunch of years, and they've all been terrible. And I don't think the marketing campaign for this one has been particularly, pardon the pun, fantastic. I think it's going to do well. I think the movie's going to do well. But I'm always surprised, Rob. I am continuously surprised every time a new Jurassic movie opens, how big the opening weekend is. So I'm not saying Jurassic World will necessarily be the better movie, but I think it's going to have the bigger opening weekend. That's what's more likely. What do you think?
100%. I'm agreeing with you 100%. You cannot never, ever. There's two things in life that are true besides death and taxes. One, you never bet against Jimmy C. You never bet against James Cameron. And two, you never bet against dinosaurs killing folks, especially with a $200 million budget. Scarlett Johansson and Mahershala Ali, two-time Oscar winner Mahershala Ali. Two times. Come on, man. I mean, it's gonna open with all the money. I mean, Fantastic Four is gonna do well, but Jurassic World Rebirth, they're gonna have a rebirth at the bank on Monday morning because they're gonna have so much cash. They're gonna have to. It's gonna be Tony Montana levels of cash.
By the way, just to put it in a little bit of context, the last Jurassic World movie, which wasn't that great, Jurassic World Dominion, 2022, $145 million opening weekend. I don't think Fantastic Four is going to do those numbers. I hope it does, but I just don't think it will.
Nope.
So, all right, what's next?
All right, Peacemaker Guy says, naysayer Rob, what's more likely, Zack Snyder directing a Marvel movie or directing a movie in James Gunn's DC universe?
Listen, man, I'm going to say James Gunn's DC universe because, look, Rebel Moon notwithstanding, Zack Snyder made one of the great comic book adaptations in 300. You know,
such a great movie.
I mean, what he did there, and while I don't think it's a very good adaptation, I'd call it a recreation. There's a lot to love in Watchmen, and of course, Man of Steel.
Yeah,
those three films are very different films, totally. But if Zack Snyder is given a script that James Gunn deems like, here's the script for you, buddy, and it's a solid script, Zack Snyder could knock it out of the park.
Yeah, I think it is absolutely. First of all, I don't think either will happen, but I think it is way more likely that he works on a film in James Gunn's DCU. Number one, the two of them are friends.
Yeah.
They're actually friends. They have worked together before, and they've worked well together before. And the other part of the equation is this. I do not see Kevin Feige looking at Zack Snyder as a good fit for his MCU.
No.
So I just don't see that happening. Whereas on this other side, I could see it. And again, you just brought up the key thing. Don't let Zack Snyder anywhere near the script,
Yeah.
because Zack Snyder is I'll die on this hill. Zack Snyder is a brilliant visual storyteller. Hand him a solid existing script. He can make something good out of it, I think. And so, again, I don't think either will happen, but I think it's more likely he does James Gunn.
I'll tell you something else. And go with me on this. And I know this is quick, but it would not surprise me, just like you said, if given the right script, that James Gunn would not tap Zack Snyder to direct his universe's Justice League movie.
That's never going to happen.
I don't know.
No.
I can see it.
By his universes, you mean James Gunn universe?
Yeah. Like
also never going to happen, but
I think he wants
that's
that.
more likely. Yeah.
But that's what, like, if let's say they go to War World and Mongol, or they do some crazy ass, Crisis on Infinite Earth stuff, as if once the characters are established with the tone of that universe, and James Gunn says, look, you got to work within the tone that we're establishing in this universe. I think that there'd be plus I would just love to read the internet meltdown. I would love it.
I think he'd be more fitting for like
because people wouldn't know.
Yeah.
So Zack Snyder's going to come back and he's going to do his Justice League saga. How would half of Twitter would melt down? Of X would just, my phone would destroy itself.
that might be good for you.
that might be good for Rob. All right, what's next?
All right. Spider Ham says, John, what's more likely, Megan 2.0 or
Five Nights at
Five
Freddy's?
Nights at Freddy's, Fast Nights at Freddy's? That's a different movie. 2, to be Blumhouse's big horror movie moneymaker this year.
Ooh, that's a really good
That's a
question.
good one.
Five Nights at Freddy's ended up making $291 million, and Megan made less than that, I believe. Made $180 million. But you know what?
Yeah.
This is a great question. I'm going to go counterintuitive. I think Megan 2.0 makes more money. The trailers have been bonkers. Now, granted, I may totally change my mind once we see some Five Nights at Freddy's marketing. But the trailers for Megan, I think, has been bonkers. I think it had a lot more growth in its awareness after it was out of theaters. I don't know that Five Nights. Listen, I'll be honest with you. I don't think Five Nights at Freddy's was all that great.
No.
And so I think the word of mouth about Megan was stronger after it than Five Nights at Freddy's. Although, don't get me wrong, I am actually very interested in watching the new Five Nights. I am.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that Megan 2.0 will be the bigger hit. What do you think?
I'm with you, dude. I think Megan 2.0 is going to be the Terminator 2 Judgment Day of the Megan franchise.
I do think, I think you're right.
After watching that trailer,
It looks like it's big. The scale is much different.
yeah, the scale's bigger, and you know what it is? Like, we're coming off of a year so far in horror. I mean, Companion delivered. Everyone's loving Final Destination Bloodlines. And I think the feel, like the way they've made Megan 2.0 and what it looks to be is going to slot right into today's horror environment. I think people are going to be like, yeah, we know what we're getting. We've been teed up by the other horror films that have come out this year. So I do. I think it looks to me to be Megan 2.0 Judgment Day.
I'm looking for somebody but have Zack Snyder direct Megan 3. All right, what's next?
All right. We got Champion Black for Rob. What's more likely, Wicked for Good or Zootopia 2 have a bigger opening weekend in November? They open within 5 days.
Wow, that's really
Whoa.
tough. That's really tough. I'm going to go with Wicked for Good because it's newer. And Wicked 1 obviously did bang up business. People know what they're getting. The Wicked train is still barreling down the tracks. Whereas Zootopia 2 coming off, how long has it been? A decade?
Almost.
Since
I think
9 years.
7, 8, 9 years.
And I love
yeah.
Zootopia. The first Zootopia I thought was great. I think they're both going to make lots of money, but I'm gonna throw in the towel for Wicked for good.
You know what? The question was opening weekend, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I think overall Zootopia makes more money. I think Wicked for Good has the bigger opening weekend.
Yeah.
And I think it's to your point. I think right now, like Wicked just came out last year, got all these Oscar nominations. People loved it. And what did it end up making? I think it I think it ended up making like 700 something million at the box office. If I'm not, let me bring it up here. $756 million at the box office. More people are going to go see this one. I think this is an opening weekend kind of movie, whereas Zootopia, I don't think is an opening weekend kind of movie. Like I think,
But it's going to have legs.
it's going to have massive legs.
Yeah.
I think it makes more money than Wicked, but I'm going to go with you on this, Rob. I think it's more likely the Wicked actually has a bigger. By the way, I don't think they're going to open 5 days apart from each other. This isn't a Barbenheimer situation. These are two movies that are going after the same demographic,
Yep.
practically. I think one of them will move, but if they don't move, I think Wicked gets the bigger opening weekend.
Yeah, I think, and I agree with you too. Zootopia 2 is going to make overall, if it's great, is going to make more money than Wicked. But the question wasn't that; it was on opening weekend.
Yeah.
All right. What's
All
the
right,
last one?
Final one here for John. Jason Williams says, what's more likely to get a direct sequel, Thunderbolts or Brave New World, Captain America 4?
You know what? I hawed at it, but it's actually kind of an easy answer. Thunderbolts. And simply because it was the much better received movie. I mean, Captain America Brave New World actually made more money. I mean, it didn't make a lot more, but Brave New World made more money than Thunderbolts. I think partially because so many people were disappointed in Captain America Brave New World, it kind of soured them to go to the next Marvel movie. So thanks a lot, Captain America. But Captain America did make more money than Thunderbolts, but Thunderbolts was far more well received. And I think if you're in a boardroom at Marvel right now and Kevin Feige asks, hey guys, which is more likely to make more money at the box office? Thunderbolts 2 or Captain America Brave New World 2? Everybody in that boardroom is going to say Thunderbolts 2 is more likely to make more money. So for the record, I think probably both these movies are going to get direct sequels at some point.
Yeah.
But I think the more likely one is Thunderbolts, Rob.
I think the more likely one is Thunderbolts, but I also think that they are going to do a Captain America sequel, because the thing about Thunderbolts, you know, being the new Avengers, what is the status going to be after Doomsday and Secret Wars of that team? So maybe they just go back being the Thunderbolts. But I also think that Anthony Mackie's Captain America is going to be further defined by Doomsday and Secret Wars. And I think that his status as Captain America will rise because he'll have more to do, and he will. Look, I thought the only real problem with Brave New World was the script was all over the place. And I thought what they should have done.
It was a Hulk sequel. It wasn't even a Captain America movie.
yeah,
They couldn't
yeah.
even give Sam his own movie.
No,
They made
that
a
was
Hulk
the real
sequel.
problem. And you need to, if you lean into Anthony Mackie's charisma and you lean into his ability to really be a screen presence, I think he'll get his sequel, and it'll make more money because him as Captain America will become more important in these next two Avengers movies. So he'll endear himself to the audience, I think.
All right, guys, and that'll wrap it up for this little installment of What's More Likely. Big thank you to all you guys who sent in the scenarios, even the ones that we didn't pick. Thank you to everybody for sending those in, and keep your eyes open for when we put out a call for submissions for the next time we play the game. All right, guys.
Those are good ones.
Those were good ones, indeed. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Bloomberg put out an interesting article yesterday that caught my attention. That, you know, in a world right now where movie theater attendance is dwindling, and in a year-by-year basis, every once in a while we see these big thrushes. I think we're about coming in July. I think we're going to see a lot of movie going in July, man.
Yeah.
But overall, looking at it on a year-by-year scale, movie attendance is struggling. And so the Brain Trust, over at the world's largest exhibition company, AMC Theaters, gathered together and said, we need to come up with a way to entice moviegoers to come back to the movie theaters. Fewer and fewer of them are coming. What can we do, my minions? Says Adam Aron, CEO of AMC. What can we do, my minions, to appeal to those moviegoers, saying, hey, here's better value for your time and money. Come on back to the theaters. And one lowly, I imagine, executive in the AMC boardroom raised his hand and said, let's play more commercials in front of the movie. To which Adam Aron, being the sage, wise leader that he is, said, bingo, and did his best Jean-Luc Picard and said, make it so. And so, according to Bloomberg, AMC Theaters has proudly announced the answer to all the problems of declining movie attendance. We're going to play more fucking commercials. Bloomberg writes the following. AMC Entertainment Holdings, Inc. has agreed to run more advertising in its theaters, ending its years-long opposition to commercials that have come right before the movies. The largest U.S. Theater chain, AMC, reached an agreement with National Cinemedia, Inc. to run the spots according to a statement Tuesday. National Cinemedia owns and operates an ad network in major theater chains, including AMC, Cinemark Holdings, and Regal Cinemas. Starting July 1st, AMC Theaters will feature a platinum spot.
This is the worst thing I've ever heard, by the way.
Platinum spot that's shown on screens right before the start of the film. The theater chain, which has struggled financially, will get a cut of the ad sales, receiving what it described as, quote unquote, vital revenue. Vital revenue. Okay. Let's talk about this for a second. Again, as I alluded to a little bit earlier, there is a problem in moviegoing, and in the sense that less of it is happening. Movie theaters are making it less and less appealing to go to the movie theaters. Number one, the prices keep increasing. And by the way, I do not put all the blame for that on the movie theaters. I mean, that's the movie studios spending more and more and more money on the movies they're making, thus requiring them to take more and more money from the movie theaters in the ticket take, thus requiring the movie theaters to raise their prices. I'm not putting all the blame for that on the movie theaters. I'm not. So let me acknowledge that. But for the average moviegoer, they're looking at increased ticket prices all the time. You want to go get a popcorn and a soda, which is a vital part of the movie-going experience. You're literally now paying like $20+ to get a soda and a box of popcorn. Heaven help you if you bring a date. Oh my God. Celibacy, my friends. It's the financial answer to the world's problems. Anyway. And on top of that, whence paying for a movie, and that they are told, says right there, 7 o'clock. Used to be in the day, that meant the movie really started at 7:10. Then it meant it started at 7:15. Then it meant it started at 7:20. Then it meant it started at 7:25. And now there are times that it even means like 7:30, 7:32, 7:33. And now, the brain children of the gods have decided that the big answer to this is adding more commercials. Stealing even more of the moviegoer's time. Stealing even more of the moviegoers, I would say, value propositioning in what you're getting in exchange for going. I like to illustrate it like this. Imagine that you went to a website that you like to frequent regularly. Let's just say IGN, for an example. Let's say you go to IGN. There are ads that pop up on IGN, but you know what? That's okay, because it's free. It's free to read IGN. So you expect, hey, they need to make money. There are going to be some ads around there and you get right into it. But may I propose that even if it was free, if you went to IGN.com/bubbly and you go to read an article and they say, hey, thanks for clicking on this and wanting to read the article. Sit back and relax and watch the next 15 fucking minutes of commercials before we show you the ad. Would you go to IGN anymore? Would anybody go to IGN if you had to sit and watch 15 minutes of commercials before they showed you an article, and that's a free article? How would you respond if IGN says you go to IGN.com/bubbly bubbly and they go, oh, thanks for coming to read this. Before we let you read it, we need you to pay us $15 to see the ad or just to read the article. You go, wow, $15 to read the article. Well, I heard it's a good article. I heard it's got some really good information in it. I heard it's written in witty prose. I'm sure it's going to be a great article. Okay. Credit card information there, $15. And now we're going to make you watch 15 minutes of fucking ads. Before we let you read the article, you just paid us $15 to watch. How does that make any sense? And yet, the movie theater industry over the years has fucking sensitized the audience so much that we go, oh, but for movie going, that's perfectly acceptable. Oh, it's just a part of movie going. Fuck that. We pay you in upwards of $20 or more to come in and sit in your theater. We have bought a premium, what should be a premium experience. You don't have the fucking right to throw 25 minutes, 30 minutes of commercials in front of my face when I fucking paid you to be here. And if I seem a little upset.
No, keep
I
going.
hadn't noticed.
This is amazing.
If I seem a little upset.
It's fantastic.
It's because I care. I love the movie-going experience. I love going into a big theater with 1,000 strangers and the lights go dim and we all laugh and gasp and screech and cheer and thrill all together in a big, wonderful communal experience. It's one of the best things in life. What is best in life, Conan? Movie-going experience. That's what's best in life.
Well, the lamentations of the women are pretty good, too.
Well, and driving my engine for you and hearing the lamentations of the women. That is also good. And then here comes the problem. And I've mentioned this before. You are presented with an issue. Fewer and fewer people are coming to the movies. It's a statistical fact. Okay, that's our problem. We can do one of two things. Because fewer and fewer people coming means we're making less and less money. You have one of two paths you can take. Path number one, let us increase the user experience. Let's make it more appealing to our moviegoers to come into our temples of entertainment, to give them a more pleasant night out, to give them an experience that they felt good about spending a little bit of money on, having a good time. Let's do the things we can do to bring more people back to the theaters, thus raising our revenue. That's one path you can take. Oh no, AMC and guys like Adam Aaron are too smart for that. They choose the second path. And the second path, which they have chosen, is, wow, fewer and fewer people are coming to the movie theaters. Oh, well, let's do what we can do to squeeze more money and erode the viewer experience to get more money out of the faithful that are still coming. By increasing our popcorn prices, by forcing them to watch more commercials, by doing all these things, instead of trying to get more people to come, let's just put a tariff and a tax on the faithful moviegoers who are still coming. Now, of course, that leads down a deadly path. Well, now you've made the experience worse, so even fewer people will come, thus lowering your revenue, thus making you try to squeeze even more money out of the people still coming, which creates a negative experience, which means fewer people come, which means you lower your revenue again, which means you raise prices, and the cyclical spiral of death continues. If I seem upset, it's because I love the movie-going experience and I'm watching them fucking killing themselves. I'm watching them kill themselves. AMC's excuse will be the fourth grade child's excuse. Everybody else is doing it. Here's the brainchild. Here's the little nugget of wisdom that came out of them. They said, we looked at other movie theater chains that seem to be doing this, and they don't seem to be suffering any consequences for doing it. There's been no consequences to other movie theaters doing this? Movie theater attendance is down year over year. What the fuck are you talking about? That there's been no negative repercussions? Now, is that the only reason movie theater attendance has gone down? Absolutely not. I'm not suggesting otherwise. But for you to just ignore the fact that that is absolutely one of the factors in movie attendance going down, then you're an idiot. It moved me to the point that I did one of the very rare things that I ever do. I took to social media. I don't do that often, but I took to social media and I decided to draft as a nobody, as just an individual lover of movie-going, lover of these temples of cinema. Like, I'm a fucking nobody. I'm not saying, John Campea wrote that. No. It's useless. It's nothing. It's going to go into the ether and it's going to disappear like a fart in the wind. But I felt motivated to jump online and write a little open letter to AMC theaters, to which I said the following. Dear AMC theaters, in light of your recent announcement that you'll be adding more ads on your screens after the advertised movie time, thus wasting more of my time that I paid you to have in your movie theater without giving me more value for that money, I have decided to recoup that money by no longer buying any of your overpriced popcorn, soda, or candy at any of your concession stands. By my estimation, I spend roughly $25 per visit at the concession stand. That's my own stupid fault. That's my own fault. I spend roughly $25 per visit at the concession stand between my wife and I. Given how often I visit, I'm estimating I spend around $200 a month there, maybe upwards of $2,400 a year. That makes me feel stupid when I look at that number, but probably about $2,400 a year I spend at your concession stands. That won't be happening anymore. I hope forcing me as a single individual to watch another commercial is worth that $2,400 to you. Your theaters charge a premium for moviegoers to attend your locations, yet you insist on continuously eroding the experience we get for that premium. Therefore, I will also be highly recommending my fellow moviegoers to bypass your concession stands from now on. If you want to steal time away from us, then we should reciprocate by keeping our money away from you. I will also no longer try to dissuade my fellow moviegoers from piracy. It has been said that if buying isn't owning, then pirating isn't stealing. Well, I would add, if paying a premium price doesn't get you a premium experience, find a cheaper way to get your premium experience. I was proud to have worked with AMC. Now you are a joke and an embarrassment. Instead of enticing moviegoers back to the theaters with a better experience, you tax the remaining faithful moviegoers with higher prices and diminished experiences. Your tombstone will read, death by suicide. Let me touch on a couple of things I've mentioned in there. Number one, my fellow movie fans, it's done. Do not go. If your movie theater shows more than 15 minutes, if your movie theater starts the movie more than 15 minutes after when they tell you it starts, they're stealing your time. Do not buy movie theaters concessions anymore. I do it as a matter of principle. Do not buy their shit anymore. I have always justified it for them, Rob. I've always said, I get it. The popcorn's expensive. I get it. The soda's expensive, but that's how they pay their bills. I understand it. I love my buttery popcorn when I'm watching a movie, but you know what? If you're going to steal my time from me, you ain't getting my money from me. And I'm going to do this every day on the John Campea Show for the next little while. I'm going to start and end my show by saying, remember guys, when you go to the movie theaters, sneak in your snacks, eat beforehand, whatever. Do not buy a single goddamn kernel of popcorn from your local movie theater anymore if they are a movie theater that is stealing your time, particularly AMC theaters. Don't do it. Don't give them a single another dime. If they're charging you with your time, with all these commercials and 30 minutes, like a half hour of stuff of wasting your time, do not give them another red cent. Don't give them a red cent. Kind of have to go see the movies, and that's fine, but do not give them another penny. Don't give them another penny. My fellow movie fans, stop buying their popcorn. Stop buying their sodas. Don't buy another damn thing from them. Bring in your M&Ms, bring in your chocolate-covered almonds, or just eat them before you go and go out for dinner afterwards and give your money to somebody else who deserves it more. The second thing I want to address that I put in there is the fact that I abhor piracy. I abhor it. Contrary to how people try to self-justify and say it's not really stealing. Yes, it is. We've proven that it is stealing. It's stealing. You know what? I ain't going to tell people not to do it anymore. I'm not saying I'm encouraging it. I'm just telling people I'm not going to tell them not to do it anymore. You know why? Because these fucking movie theaters keep stealing our time. They're stealing from us. Now, independent filmmaker goes out and makes DVDs like our good friend John Schnepp did. Don't go pirate that stuff. Don't do that. I'm going to keep telling people not to do that to independents and people who make their own movies. Don't do that. And I'm not telling you to pirate anything. Let me be clear. But I'm just simply saying, Rob, I ain't going to discourage anybody anymore. Because if they're going to steal from you, who am I to tell you not to reciprocate? Who am I telling you? Who am I to tell you not to retaliate? Again,
piracy isn't hurting movie theaters, though. It's hurting studios and filmmakers.
It could hurt. Look, but again, they're kind of part of a systemic problem of how high the prices are and stuff like that. Again, I am not encouraging it. I am not. Let me be very clear. But I can't in good conscience anymore sit here and tell people not to do it. I'm not going to discourage it. I'm not going to tell you to do it. I'm not encouraging you to do it, but I'm not going to discourage it either. Yeah, do what you want to do. And anyway, Rob, and I know I've gone on about this pretty damn long. I just,
but
it comes
I'm going to give you an applause for that, though.
It comes from a place that I love the movie theaters. I love going to their facilities. I love walking into their buildings. I love sitting down with a big box of popcorn and a soda and getting lost in the magic of the movies. And I love doing it in a movie theater because that's always going to be 5 times better than doing it in the same fucking couch that you plant your fat ass on, 29 other nights of the month. I love it. And that's why it pisses me off when I see them keep inflicting self-harm on themselves and using the moviegoers as the whipping boys to do it. Anyway, Rob, there's a story in Bloomberg saying AMC is going to be adding more commercials pre-show. What are your thoughts?
Well, the thing that I thought was really terrible about this is they're going to put this premium ad on right before the movie starts. That's what they said in that article. Like, they're going to have that one. Now, I'll give you an example. I love my local Harkins Theater. They're a smaller theater chain. There's not very many Harkins Theaters in California. And Harkins has turned, since I've lived here, out here in the Inland Empire, I like going to the theater before, like an hour before the movie, because they have a nice bar there. I find that I have an interesting social experience. I've been recognized a few times. I've had great conversations with people. I went to see the secret movie because I had heard, like you, it was going to be The Life of Chuck. The girl, the bartender, knew her movies. She knew her horror. She knew what was coming out. So we were having a talk about upcoming films. So Harkins has become a place where I go to spend extra time enjoying the theater itself. I love their lobby. I love their food. I love the people that work there. The managers are nice. So it's a great experience. And that, to me, is what they should focus on. Make the movie theater a place that you enjoy. And then when the movie started, I don't think there was any commercials, but there was like 4 trailers that I hadn't seen before. And then I love the trailers, and then they have the Harkins logo, and then the movie starts. And that experience, the whole experience of going to that Harkins Mountain Grove 16 theater,
very reminiscent of the arc, the way the ArcLight experience used to be.
I was going to say it. Even the lobby, the big lobby, is ArcLight in its
Right.
feel. It
Yeah.
has a great feel to it.
Very classy feel.
Yeah, there's a class. Yes. Even the walk up, it has a huge, like the opening where they have like these big oversized posters that they're not standard one sheet size. There's just something about that whole experience. I've never been to another Harkins theater, so I can't speak to, but that's what I like. They turn the place. There's a reverence about movies.
High ceilings. You feel like you're going into a place.
Yeah, it does. It has a big, and here's the thing. If you show a commercial right before the movie starts, that is one of the most diminishing. You want to diminish the experience for a viewer. They're going to be like, what am I watching TV now?
Yeah.
Like if I watch a string of trailers and then the last thing they show me before the movie starts is a commercial for, I don't know, Viagra, whatever, Hims, or whatever the hell it is. I've never taken those. I don't know. I don't need them. But I don't know what that's going to do. Why would you do that? I mean, if you're trying to create an experience for people, why would you show a commercial as the last thing that people are going to see? It's cool to have trailers. And then the logo there's something special about it. You've seen the trailers and then the logo for Harkins comes up and then the movie starts. Because that's what it is. The Harkins is presenting you this experience. Why wouldn't you want to do that? Why would I want to then see a commercial that has nothing to do with movies or nothing to do with the venue that I'm in? Why would you do that?
Here's an interesting little statistic. Now, I might be off on this, but we did the math on this once a couple of years ago, and it may have changed. But we figured for not a movie trailer, but a commercial that plays, right? The movie theater will be getting roughly about 30 cents for an individual per individual watching that ad, right? Now you multiply that by a whole bunch of people.
Sure.
That can add up. You're going to lose out on my $25 concession stand purchase for that 30 cents. And to Rob's point, like at least when it's a trailer or something like that, you're going from getting warmed up for a movie theater experience. Hopefully it's a short number of trailers, but you go from being warmed up for a movie theater experience into drive the new Ioniq 5 and like or hey, you excited about this movie? Get your dick excited for sex again. Take Cialis or whatever. It seems counterintuitive. Sorry, did I interrupt? I didn't mean to break your chain of thought.
No,
I was thinking of Cialis.
I was agreeing with you. I didn't think that was a question. I thought I was just sitting here going, yes. I mean, it just makes me sad. Like this, when you're at a movie theater or you're at the AMC boardroom meeting, and yeah, let's put a premium commercial. First of all, the commercial time is when you go get your food. So I'm not looking at those commercials anyway. I want to see the trailers, and everybody knows I'll go to the bathroom again or beforehand if I forgot, because I was sitting at the bar and had 2 beers, having a nice communal time meeting other moviegoers, talking about our excitement to see movies. You know
what would be better, would be more effective? 2 things. 1, why don't you do print advertisement in the lobbies of whatever it is, their sponsor of the month or the week? 2, why don't you run specific sponsored perks for AMC moviegoers, brought to you by the people at blah, blah, blah. So it's integrated, and it's about a perk that you're getting, and you're getting value back while they're making money, as opposed to just like sit and watch this.
You know what? And I know I've said this before, but let me say it again here. All this is solved. All of it is solved. If, what did NATO just rename themselves again to? Cinema United?
Yeah, Cinema United.
If Cinema United, just all the member theater chains, including AMC and Regal and Cinemark, if they all agreed to a new rule, we advertise showtime and the movie start time.
Right.
You say showtime, 7 p.m., movie starts at 7:32. All this is not a problem anymore. As long as you just tell me when the actual movie starts and I can choose to skip all those ads that I paid to not see, all these problems go away. But they won't do that.
But the thing is, that premium spot for a commercial right before the movie starts. I mean, look, remember, I do understand that we're talking about going to movies, and there's a lot more pressing problems in this crazy world we live in. But since we're talking about movies and entertainment on this show, and I'm talking about the experience of going to movies, which I've done since I was a kid, the last thing why is it that the corporate world is trying to diminish the very thing they're trying to sell us? Like, it is not helping movie theaters by putting a premium ad in front of the movie that you want to see. Especially if you've seen, it doesn't help movie theaters in the long run. It might give them money, but it's not going to help patrons go and patronize their establishment more.
Yeah, and again, we've gone on this for long, and that's all my fault because I ranted way too long. I apologize. But I want to end this whole thing by putting an open invitation to the CEOs, to the executives, anybody at AMC theaters. It's not even an invitation. It's a dare. I dare you to send me an email, drop me a note, and explain to me how adding another commercial before the movie time benefits the moviegoer. Go ahead. Write it to me. Send it. I'll be, if you actually send, by the way, that's not rhetorical. If you actually send something to me and it actually makes sense, I'll be more than happy to read it on my show. I dare you. Write to me an email and tell me how it benefits the moviegoer, how it enhances the moviegoer's experience and makes it an experience that will make it more likely that that moviegoer will want to come back again.
Yep.
Send me that email. Go ahead. The floor is fucking yours. Send it. You won't, because you're goddamn cowards. And you're stupid. And your mom's dumb. Anything else I can think of. Anyway.
And you throw like a girl.
Throw like a girl. You still probably dress better than me, though. Anyway, guys, question is,
I don't know. You looked pretty snazzy last night.
I did. Anne picked out my outfit. I got to give her all that.
I got to give you both props. That dress she was wearing was banging.
She looked great, didn't she?
She looked great.
She looked great. All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think? Tell me how happy you are that AMC is going to now put more commercials in front of your movies and how great this is. I would love to hear your thoughts. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.
I can't wait to see the comments on this clip.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, with that down, guys, let's move on to this, shall we? Well, Superman is coming in July, but so is Fantastic Four. Coming out, I believe, July 25th, which really means July 24th. Got my tickets today.
Comic-Con weekend, by the way.
That's right. Comic-Con weekend.
Oh, yeah.
I bought my tickets. I'm going to go see a 2 o'clock showing on the Thursday, on the 24th. I'm very excited. Going to go see it with Ann and probably Ryan and Ray. Going to go see it. Very excited about it. Can't wait to see it. Anyway, and I was able to do that because it's here, guys. The tickets are now on sale. Fantastic Four tickets have gone on sale, and you can now go and pick them or go to Fandango or your movie theater app of choice, buying up your tickets. And they release the tickets on the same day that they decide to release a new trailer. Now, I hesitate to use the term trailer because it's like a minute and 10 seconds. It's not a full-length trailer. But surprisingly enough, even though that it was a shorter trailer, there's a decent amount of stuff in it that hasn't been in the other marketing so far. Like a shot of the Fantastic. I was not prepared for the scale of that Fantastic Four ship. Like when it has from that one camera angle down, looking up at it on its launch
where
pad.
they're building it.
Oh my! Like that was way bigger than I thought it was, because I never got the sense of the scale of it at the end of Thunderbolts, or even in that shot there. But when they're like,
what's happening in that shot?
Yeah, oh my God, look at that. That doesn't look like fun. And then you look up, it's like massive. Also, there's a cute little scene at the end of it between Johnny and Reed, which
about the spacesuits.
Yes.
You know what? I love that scene, and
I
wish that there was more interaction. We saw more of those character moments, because everything they've told, I want to hang out with those guys. Like Johnny Storm sequence when he's talking to Reed, I was like, yes, that scene alone made me want to go see this movie more than anything else that I've seen before.
You mean the one where he's like, well, that I've said in private?
Yeah.
To myself.
That I've said to myself.
Yeah.
in private and walking away. Also, I'm not gonna lie, I loved hearing the phrase "clobbering time."
Yes.
Even though it wasn't Ben that said it,
Right.
But you know he will say it in the movie, and I
Right.
think they're saving Ben saying it for us seeing it in the movie theaters. Is it clobbering time? Yeah, and he's like busting through the building. So there was some good stuff in there. And you already kind of answered. I was going to ask you what stood out to you in the trailer.
Well, that's and those few shots, but that's what I wanted. You look, as John Byrne said, like I said this before, when he took over Fantastic Four, one of the things he said was the family aspect of the Fantastic Four is the most important element of the characters. They're a family. And we needed to see more of that. And I think that's why, you're like, I want to be friends with these people. That's why. Why do we watch movies? Because secretly, I am friends with the Corleone family. I am. I know them all very well. I've seen them at least 50 times each. And that's what we want. You want to have that experience with characters that you love. And you've got to give us, with Fantastic Four, you've got to give us, these are not just superheroes. How are they different from the Thunderbolts? How are they different from Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man? And the reason they're different is because they're a family. As that's their quality as heroes. They're a family first. And I think that's something that it was good that they added that little bit in the trailer.
And by the way, the trailer also, there's no questioning it. They literally gave us a shot of little baby a little baby Franklin Richards. With mom and dad and the baby in the middle, they put it right in the trailer. So
I don't know if the reports were correct where they were talking about she's giving birth to Reed. To Franklin in the spaceship or whatever. But time obviously passes. This covers a span because she's pregnant.
Yes.
She gives birth. They have a baby now. So.
Which is interesting because we hadn't talked about that. But yeah, there's a span of time that I think, and that's another thing. I never got a sense of what this movie was really about, and now I feel I'm getting a little bit more interested.
But you're right, there has to be, because in the trailers we see I'm late
right
to baby.
Yeah.
Right.
Now maybe on Earth 721Q-5 the incubation period of human child is 3 weeks. I don't know.
Very short,
but
very
here
painful.
It's 9 months. So at least 9 months pass in time. So.
Yeah, I just think that's the quality of these heroes, because what makes them, for me, it's been very generic, like generic superhero team. But now seeing more family interaction makes me want to see these characters and know them more. And I think that family dynamic is really fun.
I think, and you know what, I haven't heard anybody say this, but so I'm just speculating as a fan, but I bet you one of the key things that went into the casting of the movie was the dynamics between the various performers. And I'm going to bet that they are going to crush it. I think we're going to get such a great dynamic and chemistry between these characters and performers.
Well, it's Sarah Finn who casts all the Marvel.
Yep.
They've always hit hard. There's been very few mistakes made in this casting. And I know, Pedro Pascal, we're going to see him in The Materialists next week or whatever. Yeah. But I do think that this, like you just said, the family dynamic is going to be a great one, because that's the core of the film.
And that's the thing. If they can nail that, if they can nail a great on-screen chemistry between these characters, that will cover a lot of other potential mistakes the movie.
Yes.
Not that the movie is going to make a lot of other mistakes necessarily, but even if it does, if your core is fabulous chemistry between the four characters, that'll carry a lot. That'll cover over a multitude of sins.
Yes. Agreed.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about it? Do you have a chance to see the new little trailer they put out? And tickets are now on sale. Have you got your tickets yet? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, it's time for us to move on to the most important part of our show, which is, of course, taking your live comments and questions. But before we do that, we're going to bid adieu to the wonderful Robert Meyer Burnett. Great as always, guy.
I'd like to remind everybody there's a new Designing Hollywood right here on the John Campea channel. And
Launched this morning.
It's Deborah Nadulman, who was the costume designer for American Werewolf in London, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Blues Brothers, Animal House.
Iconic.
And the conversation's really entertaining. So check it out.
Thanks for reminding us about that, Rob. And of course, also before we get on to your comments and questions, we're going to take another quick second here to thank another sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at Ridge. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Ridge. Okay, let's talk about this. This is easily one of my favorite upgrades I've made all year. This right here is the Ridge wallet, and it is such an upgrade over my old bulky leather wallet. You know the one, it looked like a sandwich and it felt like you were sitting on a brick. Ridge is a sleek, modern wallet that holds up to 12 cards plus cash, and look at this slim design. It's made from premium materials like aluminum, titanium, and carbon fiber. Mine is absolutely beautiful and I get compliments on it all the time. And here's a part of it that really gives me peace of mind. It's got RFID blocking technology. That means your info stays safe from digital pickpockets. Plus, every Ridge wallet comes with a lifetime warranty. This is literally the last wallet you'll ever need. And right now, just in time for Father's Day, Ridge is having a huge sale. Get up to 40% off your order at ridge.com/Campea. Just head to ridge.com/Campea to find the perfect gift for dad or yourself. When you check out, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Give dad the upgrade he deserves this year. And thank you to our friends at Ridge for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. Excuse me, guys, as I just refill my drink. Soda that I did not get from an AMC theater. All right. With all that down, guys, let's get on to the main event here, shall we? Taking your comments and questions. Jonathan, what we got up first?
Dingus McNally. Hey, John, I know this is an unpopular opinion, but I really enjoy the 2011 Green Hornet movie. My question is, would you want to see the Green Hornet get another crack as a series or movie? And just a thought, but Ben Wang for Kato.
You know what? I'm not going to sit here and say that Seth Rogen's Green Hornet was great, but it was much better than I was expecting.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
You know, I've told the story that when I talked to Rogen about it, I said, first thing I said was, look, man, I admit when I saw the previews for Green Lantern and he said to me, you're one of the assholes that said this wasn't going to be any good. And I said, yep, I did. But it was kind of fun. I enjoyed it. There'll never be a sequel to it, obviously. But yes, I think at some point somebody else could take another crack at it. I mean, a different attempt, a different approach than maybe what Seth Rogen did. But I think that's a character you can take another crack at sometime. Maybe as like a Netflix series or a Amazon series or something like that. But I think somebody could take another crack at it. All right, what's next?
Shameen says, hi, John and team. I've been watching Batman Beyond recently. Do you think we could ever see a live action Batman Beyond
Nope.
in the DC universe or Elseworld story? Love the show. Thanks for all you do.
You must be relatively new here. Because everybody knows my answer to that. No. There's a reason that show got canceled. Now, I do believe that because of the great success of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I believe the chances today for an animated Batman Beyond movie are higher than they've ever been. I don't necessarily think it's going to happen, but I think the chances are better than they've ever been.
Especially
Live action, though, no.
Especially with where animation is now,
Yeah.
as we've seen through Spider-Verse.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. All right, what's next?
Sci-fi extremists, what would you say to SDCC Hall H doing some type of pay-per-view live stream? If the behind-the-scenes logistics would be an immediate no, then sorry. I'm only asking as a fan that would consider paying to see it instead of hopping on its YouTube or Twitter.
Well, herein lies the problem. The problem is that a lot of the stuff that studios bring to Hall H, they do as special presentations for those Comic-Con faithful. They bring stuff that they don't want broadcast out to the world, right? And they have every right to do that. I mean, like, hey, here's a little something special for those who are here at SDCC. And they don't want it broadcast out to the world. So if you did that, where you were broadcasting the Hall H, a couple things happen. Number one, nobody needs to be in Hall H anymore. But number two, the studios are going to completely change their Hall H presentations. And a lot of stuff that does get shown that make San Diego Comic-Con special for a lot of people makes it not worth it. And it makes it that they're not going to bring that stuff. Now, as a spin-off to your suggestion, what they should do is during their top, say, 4 or 5 Hall H presentations, what they should do is shut down all the other ballrooms and all the other presentation and panel rooms and close circuit a stream from Hall H so that everybody who attends San Diego Comic-Con can see it. Don't stream it out to the world, but just do it so those who are at Comic-Con, maybe you can't get into Hall H, no problem. I'll go into Ballroom 20, or I'll go into Conference Room 5E, or whatever, where they're going to close circuit what's happening in Hall H. So that way, all these people who paid and planned to come to Comic-Con can be a part of Hall H, even if not physically in person. Broadcasting it out to the world, that's a no-go. But at least close circuit it so people who are there can see it. Anyway, that's my guess. All right, what's next?
Mick Whopper, whenever I think of Michael Bay, Bad Boys is the first that comes to mind. So it makes me wonder, what if Gunn would tap or should tap Bay to do a Lanterns movie after the series? Different Lantern characters, of course.
My guess is the feel of this Lantern show, which is an HBO show, is not going to be Bad Boys feel at all. My guess is it's not going to have that feel.
I get a True Detective vibe, but I don't know.
That's 100% what I get. I absolutely get a True Detective vibe from it, not a Bad Boys vibe. Now, we may be wrong, but I don't see Michael Bay being a good fit. Again, I'm a Michael Bay defender and I'm a Michael Bay fan, but I don't see Michael Bay being a good fit for that. All right, what's next?
Nate Savage, two-parter. Hey, John and crew, I've been thinking a lot about why modern TV seasons are so short compared to the past. While maybe not the main reason, I think a big thing that is in the past, movie actors and TV actors were separate. They rarely crossed from one to the other. Nowadays, man, that made me sound old. Actors move between TV and movies all the time, so their schedules are harder to navigate. What do you think?
Well, first of all, your premise is true. Like, there was a day, I remember I did this big thing once back on the movie blog days, where it's like the number of people who became big and famous as TV stars successfully transitioning over to becoming movie stars, you could count on your fingers.
Right.
There was a time when there was not many. Michael J. Fox, George Clooney. People would say Will Smith, but Will Smith got famous doing music, not TV.
Even before Fresh Prince.
But basically, it was, you could count them on your fingers.
Yeah.
The ones that legitimately became big stars on TV first, and then were able to transition over to becoming movie stars.
Yeah.
That's not the case anymore. Today, it's seamless. They go from being movie star to starring in a movie, starring on a streaming series, starring in a movie, starring on a show. It's totally seamless now. But I don't think that affects their schedules. You're either a working actor or you're not.
Right.
So and there's a lot more actors out there. You can schedule these things. So I don't think that's part of the problem. So you're right. It is different now, but I don't think, and I could be wrong, but I don't think that's part of the problem. All right, what's next?
Paco Torres says, I believe the big problem with the DCEU wasn't the dark tone, it was the terrible writing. Shocked they almost had Michael Bay direct Superman. He hasn't had a fresh reviewed movie in 30 years. Also, like Snyder, way more focused on action than writing.
Yeah, but I think you're incorrect in your assumption that there was only one problem with the DCEU.
Mm-hmm.
Because not everything was written badly. By the way, I think some of the DCU stuff was written pretty well. But yes, some of it was also written very badly. But there is no one magic bullet that killed this thing. It was a multitude of problems. But absolutely, Ben Affleck, Rob are all right in saying that the tone kind of hurt it. Now, I'm someone who kind of liked the tone, but they needed to mix it up a little bit more. So anyway, again, it was it was death by 1,000 cuts. All right, what's next?
Gator. Hey, John, last week I also bought a van, a beautiful 97 Dodge Ram van. Next year I turn 30. I'm leaving my restaurant manager job of 12 years to travel America in my van. Plan to drive from Florida to LA first. Stoked you're on the van life too. Cheers.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm becoming van life, because I still intend to have my home.
Those people that live,
Yeah. I'm just planning on doing a lot more traveling and going to a lot more places that, for example, my buddy Cody Miller lives in Indiana. You know what? Because my van that I'm getting literally is a mobile broadcast studio too. And because Jonathan, our producer Jonathan, is going to be able to be here in studio to run the show, and Rob's going to be sitting right beside him. If I just say, hey, Cody, I'll tell you what, I'll be there. It's Monday. I'll be there by Wednesday at lunch. I'll see you in a bit. I'll hop in my van and drive out to Indiana. And then I'll stop when it's time to do the show.
Along the way too.
Yep. Tons of great places to stop along the way.
Beautiful
I'll
places.
pull over, make sure, when it's 10 in the morning, get ready to do the show. I got my Starlink on the roof, and I'll broadcast here to the studio where Jonathan and Rob will be, and they'll broadcast the show out. I'm just really looking forward to doing that.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a load of fun. It's something one of the things I was looking forward to in retirement, but now I get to do it early, and I'm excited about that.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
We got Anonymous. Watch Blue Beetle for the first time tonight. It was a ton of fun. The perfect blend of comedy, action, and superhero awesomeness. I think this could seamlessly fit into the new DCU, and I'm glad James is keeping Sholo around. Did you enjoy it?
I did. I actually thought it was a pretty good movie.
I thought it was fun, and yeah.
It does. I mean, it totally flopped, but that was everybody had abandoned the DCEU.
Why am I blanking on his uncle, the actor?
George Lopez.
I loved his role in that.
I really liked him too.
Yeah.
You know what? I remember people got all mad because there's a part of the trailer where George Lopez says, "Batman's a fascist," and people go, "Why is he calling Batman a fascist?" Because Zack Snyder. And I say this in a good way. Zack Snyder in the movie kind of set it up where a lot of people looked at Batman like he was a fascist, including Superman.
Right.
So why is it such a bad thing that somebody else in that universe looked at him that way too?
And then Batman found hope through the Justice League and he changed his ways. That was the whole thing too.
I thought, do I think Blue Beetle was a great movie? No, but I thought it was a good movie. I had fun with it. I did, but it completely flopped. And I don't think you're going to see him as the live action Blue Beetle. I know we're getting him doing the voice and some animated stuff, but I don't know if we're going to see him as the live action. Again, I'm not saying that as a fact. I could be wrong, but my guess is we won't see him as the live action Blue Beetle again. All right, what's next?
We got WP who says, "Hi crew, on the Michael Bay Superman story. Did you hear on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast with McHugh? He had a treatment script for a Henry Cavill Superman film. Wondering if Bay's script would have used this story. Listening to McHugh talk about it sounds great."
Well, they wouldn't have had the right to use McHugh's. They wouldn't have had the right to use McHugh's thing. Yeah, I heard McHugh, Christopher McQuarrie, the director of a whole bunch of the Mission Impossible movies.
Yeah.
He in his interview, he said he did a pitch for what he said was an epic Superman movie, what he thought would have been a great Superman movie. By the way, following up on that story, because we talked about this the other day, that the Wrap reported that Abdi and DeLuca, the heads of Warner Brother Pictures, had looked and talked to Michael Bay about directing a Superman movie. Well, Warner Brothers put out a statement saying that's not true.
Wow.
So again, the Wrap said that they got sources said that's what happened, but Warner Brothers is now saying actually that never happened. I mean, it's not important because whatever it was, whether it's true or not, it didn't happen. But one is saying that it almost happened. One is saying it was never a thing. So I don't know. It's interesting. All right, what's next?
We got Anonymous. It's a 3-parter here. Hey, John, to get success these days in box office, you need an event movie in quality and production, in marketing and in stars. It's not about losing interest or comic book movie fatigue. Superman is an event movie. Deadpool 3 was an event movie. Thunderbolts is not. Even if you make Thunderbolts 2, it will be the exact same result.
Oh, you're so wrong about that.
I disagree.
Dude, I can lay out 50 years of box office history that shows you how wrong you are about that. Anyway,
that part I disagree with as well. Marvel lost his special feeling by greenlighting movies like Cap 4 with Sam, Thunderbolts with very little interest. Marvel movie was an event. Now it's just another one. You can do one throwaway movie every 5 or 6 like Thunderbolts that will lose money, but important for your future. But see, it's important for your future. But don't make every movie as a throwaway movie. Marvel needs 2 to 3 years of important quality event movies to get the MCU back on track.
Here's the problem.
I don't think it takes 2 to 3 years.
Number one, it's circular reasoning. An event movie is not defined by its box office. Like, what are you saying defines an event movie? Now listen, I agree in event films, but what makes an event film? You know, Guardians of the Galaxy, was that an event film? I mean, I would argue that it is, but it's not just because it made over $800 million at the box office. Yeah, listen, your opinion on this is no more and no less valid than my own. But my personal thought is, if you don't think that if a Thunderbolts 2 even came out next month, that it wouldn't make more than Thunderbolts 1, given the critical reception of it, I think you're crazy. I think that's nutty. I mean, who knows? Maybe you're right, but I think that is a nutty proposition. And I also don't think calling Thunderbolts a throwaway movie is any more. I mean, that's like in saying Casino is a throwaway movie. Well, it didn't lead to anything else. It wasn't connected to a big overall story, but no. So Casino's a throwaway movie? Shawshank Redemption is a throwaway movie? No, Thunderbolts was what a movie should be. It was just a great movie.
Yeah.
And people enjoyed it and liked it. Oh, yeah, we're live.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's fine. You can still come in. No, come on in. Come on in.
Well, you already
Ray just
burst the
walks in
bubble.
and he starts talking to us like he thinks Jonathan and I are just talking to each other.
I just saw Rob's car, so I thought he stayed for the question.
I was like, no, come on in. Anyway, where we? So yeah, listen. We've talked ad nauseum. It's not about it's got to be an event film. No, this year alone has been littered with movies that you wouldn't consider event films and have had really good success. So, yeah, I just disagree with your premise. Again, your opinion is no less valid than mine. And who knows, maybe as time unfolds, we'll find out, we'll see that you're right, but I really don't think so.
Wait, I just want to clear this up, and this isn't to like throw shade or anything, but Antoine Films Thunderbolts is absolutely not Shawshank. No, it's fine. We're not saying it was Shawshank quality.
No,
and it didn't do well, but
I never said.
But Shawshank did not. Shawshank, just so you know, Shawshank flopped. It did not do well.
Yeah. And
that was the point.
Again, but the whole premise that if it's not connected to some larger cinematic storyline outside of itself, that it is then a throwaway movie.
Right.
That's a nonsensical premise to me. That's a nonsense. But we were never saying that Thunderbolts was Shawshank Redemption. Thunderbolts is great. Thunderbolts is great. Shawshank Redemption might be the greatest movie ever made by mankind. So I'm not saying that. We're saying that just because of its lack of a connection to an overall cinematic story arc, that it's somehow a throwaway movie. Movies are good or bad.
Right.
And Thunderbolts is great. Anyway. All right, what's next?
Matan says, does anybody know what's going on with the Vince Gilligan's new show on Apple TV Plus? The show ended filming back in September and isn't in Apple's marketing for the summer shows. I guess they delayed it to not cannibalize Severance's chances in the Emmys.
Well, that's an optimistic appraisal.
Yeah.
Studios have no problems having multiple shows competing for Emmys.
Yeah.
That's not their big thing. The answer is a good question, but I honestly don't know what the answer to that is.
I think that was announced back in 2022. That one on.
Yeah, so I don't know. By the way, finishing filming doesn't mean it's ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
So there could be a lot of answers to that. Again, it's a great question. I just honestly don't have any of the answers to it right now. I do know that the last thing I saw from him I wasn't super thrilled about, which was what was the spinoff?
To what? Better Call Saul.
Not Better Call Saul, but the Jesse thing. What was that called again? They had the Jesse Pinkman thing, and I didn't think that was all that great. I can't remember the El Camino. Is that what it was called?
Well, that was the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like that very much. Anyway, Grand Camino? I think it was El Camino.
You're right. Yeah.
All right, what's next?
We got Raymond, who says the Wicked for Good trailer drops today.
That's right.
If the movie is as good as the first one, do you think Oscar voters will give John M. Chu redemption and nominate him as Best Director? Will it be another Peter Jackson moment or a Denis Villeneuve snub?
I had no problem. Like, did John M. Chu get nominated for
Apparently
Best?
not.
I have no problem that he didn't. I think he did a very good job directing that film. But I have no issue. Remember, there are 10 films nominated for Best Picture, but there's only 5 Best Director nomination spots. And I thought John M. Chu did a very good job directing Wicked. And I would have been okay if he got a nomination, but I'm also okay that he didn't. So it was, in my opinion, it was like Denis Villeneuve should have maybe won the Oscar. It was a snub that he did not get nominated. But I don't consider that the same for this. I don't think there's any redemption needed for John M. Chu here. I think he will do a great job again. And if he does a job that warrants a nomination, he'll get it. But I think it was close enough that I didn't take any big issues with the fact that he didn't get nominated. He did great, but many directors did great and didn't get nominations. That's okay. All right, what's next?
Chip Crisper. Hey John, there's this artist called Funky McClunky who makes custom painted 3 3¼ inch Star Wars figures. Recently did a hilarious Deidre and Cyril video of him playing with them, just like Dark Helmet did in Spaceballs. Absolute gold. Check it out. You know what's funny?
I love that scene in Spaceballs,
I know.
by the way.
Nothing. I wasn't doing anything.
I wasn't playing with my toys.
I saw the thumbnail on YouTube for that video, but I didn't know what it was, and I kind of scrolled past it. I'll have to check it out.
All right, what's next?
We got Gavin. Hey guys, just got my tickets for Fantastic Four. Got them at the AMC IMAX fan event near me with my friends. Never been to one of those. Any ideas what to expect, or is it not worth it? Well, I think you just get a kind of advanced screening, right? Hoping
It's not advanced, though.
No.
Here, I looked at them. Normally, when you get these special fan thing first, right? Pardon me. It's supposed to be a day or two before the movie comes out because it's special for the hardcore fans. It's literally coming out the day the movie comes out. As a matter of fact, it's not even the first screening of the day. At our local AMC that Ray and I live near, that fan IMAX screening, I believe, is at 6 p.m. I got tickets to a 2 p.m. screening. That's not the special fan thing. So I think if you're going to call these special fan launches, they should happen at least one day before the regular release. Honestly, what to expect? Nothing special. I think you might get a souvenir when you go in, like a keychain or a decal or
Mini
maybe
posters.
a little mini poster.
Yeah.
Those are always fun.
And early access to popcorn.
And maybe Ray was saying early access to a popcorn bucket or something like that would be good too. But other than that, it's just normally a pretty normal screening. All right, what's next?
Let's see. We got Alberta boy. I live in Edmonton, Canada. The last few IMAX movies
Go Oilers! It's starting the Stanley Cup tonight.
have gone. I can't believe the playoffs are still going. It takes so long in hockey. The last few IMAX movies I've gone to, Final Reckoning and Bloodlines, have had 25 to 30 minutes of ads with only 2 trailers. It's ridiculous that you can show up 25 minutes late and be on time for the start of the film.
Yeah,
But 2 trailers. So they're actually like raking in more with ads and only giving you 2 trailers.
I won't go into my whole rant again. I already did that a little bit earlier.
Oh, about what?
But I will say that the other big problem, because whenever this topic comes up, people thinking they sound smart going, well, just go 25 minutes late and therefore you can miss the trailers. Oh, wouldn't that be nice if they actually started the movie consistently 25 minutes after the showtime starts, or 28 minutes. If movie theaters did that consistently, then you could plan accordingly. But as Ray often reminds me, like normally the AMC I go to starts like 28, 29, 30 minutes late. So I walked in to a movie, for example, the last Indiana Jones movie. I walked in 20 minutes, like there should still have been another 5, 6, 7 minutes of trailer. And the movie had started 10 minutes before. I missed the first 10 minutes of the movie. So they're not even consistent with it. So that kind of throws that off. All right, what's next?
Sebastian says, John, your Instagram post made me want to mention this. I noticed for Thunderbolts and now Fantastic Four, AMC has these BS opening night fan events screening that are excluded from A-list. I think they're going to add more of these screenings to devalue A-list.
I
don't know. It's one screening. I had no problem getting my Fantastic Four tickets.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Yeah, I mean, look, that's one screen. They're playing, like in my local theater, they're going to be playing Fantastic Four that opening day on, there's like 25 screenings of it that day. And one of them. that might have something to do. And I'm just guessing here. That remember we mentioned there's giveaways. Like if you're there for that, maybe you're going to get a Funko Pop or advanced thing to a bucket or whatever. That probably counters the A-listness of it, and they want that to be for paying customers. I'm okay with that. I am. Now, if they were like, A-list doesn't get access to opening day, oh, well, then I'd have a problem. But like literally one screen on one day when there's going to be like 25 screenings that day, I don't take issue with that. Just to be honest with you, I don't take issue with that. I think that's, especially when there's extra stuff being given, I'm okay with that not being counted in A-list. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, hey, John, saw people on Twitter last night talking about David Zaslav and shareholders. Can you explain what happened? I'm like 5, thanks.
Well, from what I understand, this has happened in other companies as well.
Yep.
So the shareholders had, as a part of their regular thing, they voted on David Zaslav pay package, which is, from what I understand, $52 million. He is the head of Warner Brothers Discovery. And as has happened at Disney, because we covered this story with Disney as well, and other studios before, the shareholders voted against that pay package. Now, that was only symbolic because the shareholders actually don't get a say in the pay package. The board does. And the board is still going to give him the pay package, just like the other studios whose shareholders voted. It was a symbolic vote. I mean, again, you're shareholders. You don't want your money going just towards some huge pay package for anybody. So it doesn't actually result in anything. The board is still going to give him his pay package because it's the board that decides that. Now, if the shareholders really hate that the board does that, they can vote out the board, but they're not going to do that. So it was really just a symbolic thing that didn't really mean anything. All right, what's next?
It's only $4.5 million a month. How can he afford to live with less than that?
Hey, listen, LA's an expensive place to live, Jonathan. I don't know if you realize that, but
I mean, the property taxes alone are probably that much a month. Raymond Verada says, yes, this is the right one. After seeing the Superman posters, the selfie girl in the trailers is Eve Tessmacher. Oh, I didn't. Okay. Played by Sarah Sampaio. But all I hear in my head is Gene Hackman. Mrs. Hackman!
Mrs. Smucker! I mean, Gene Hackman was the best. But is that actually, like, are you guessing that's who she's playing, or is that an actual
That I'm not
confirmed
sure where
thing?
he's getting that info from. But
I mean, if it is an actual confirmed thing, that's great. Or is that only your headcanon? Either way, now it's going to be my headcanon.
it actually makes that a scene better for me.
Yes.
More palatable.
Now, until the movie comes out and I see otherwise, that's going to be my headcanon.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Eek says the WBD boards cast a symbolic vote against David Zaslav's annual pay package, $52 million in 2024. Or I think he means couldn't be 24. That's twice Mark Zuckerberg's pay package, even though Meta is worth about 65 Warner Brothers. Do you agree Zaslav is vastly overpaid?
Again, this has happened with every MCO. And of course, Mark Zuckerberg, Mark Zuckerberg's salary is irrelevant.
Yeah.
He owns the majority of shares that are worth billions and billions and billions and billions. So that's Mark Zuckerberg's salary
Right.
is hardly even a consideration. That's nothing.
Guy's a multi-billionaire.
And all of his money comes from the stock.
Yeah.
So he's good. Again, we've covered this story with we just talked a couple of years ago about the Disney boards did the same thing and all that kind of stuff. Look, in my opinion, every CEO is overpaid. I mean, what do you want me to say? I think every CEO is overpaid. Now, I mean, I don't know, maybe there are CEOs that voluntarily take minimum wage. I don't know. But generally speaking, look, Warner Brothers is a multi-billion-dollar property. He is the head of the company. Being the main person responsible for the success or failures of the company, that's going to come with it a certain salary. Is it too much? I think all CEOs make too much, so that's my best thing on that. All right, what's next?
We got Brian Garcia. Hi, guys. I've never liked buying concessions. It always felt like a high cost for me and waste of time since I started going alone at 13. My girlfriend has always been concessions obsessed, but even she brings snacks from home now. We stand in solidarity.
Yeah, again, I'm going to try to remember, because sometimes I forget, but I'm going to try to remember to start and end all John Campea shows for the next little while by saying, my fellow film fans, do not buy. If your movie theater you go to steals more than 15 minutes of your time, which is the amount of time between when they say the movie's going to start and when they finally actually start it with all the commercials and trailers and whatever. If you go to a movie theater that steals, and they are stealing, it's stealing because you paid to be there. If you go to a movie theater that steals from you more than 15 minutes of your time, do not buy any of their concessions. Do not buy their candy. Do not buy their popcorn. Do not buy their soda. Go out and eat and snack before you go to the movie. Bring in a bottle of water. Sneak a box of M&Ms in your pocket. Whatever. I know I'm on Ray's side now. Ray loves hearing. Ray likes hearing that.
Best thing you've ever said.
Go to Chipotle and sneak the fucking whatever that thing is you bring into the theater.
Stick a burrito in your pocket.
Just bring a burrito in your. Is that a burrito in your pocket? Or are you just happy to see me?
It's a burrito.
As it turns out, it's actually just a burrito. And do that. Do not give, if the movie theater is stealing from you, do not give them any more of your money. That's just my take on that. All right, what's next?
We got Wesley Cunningham says, got my hopes up seeing AMC convert laser, focusing on improving experience again. But the sad thing is nonsense to the point of cynicism. Just advertise the actual start time. I'd still watch trailers just the amount I want. Maybe get concessions between. Well, yeah, that kind of wipes the slate clean.
Again,
if you do that.
it would absolutely solve all this problem.
Yeah.
You
Run
just,
whatever you want.
Just tell us what time the actual movie starts. And you know what? Listen, movie theaters, there's still a bunch of moviegoers who would like to come into the theater and watch a couple trailers.
Some people like to just like chill out before the movie.
Yeah. Show up 10, 15 minutes early.
Yeah.
Sit down, watch some trailers, but it'll just give your paying customer the option to just come in and get what they paid for, which was a movie. Do that, and there's no more problem. Of course, they'll never do that, but if they did that, there would be no problem. All right, what's next?
Jerry says, hi, John and crew. Regarding commercials in cinemas here in Italy, we have like 20 to 25 minutes of advertisement, and we have a 5 to 8 minute break to go to the bathroom. Couldn't AMC do a bathroom break and maybe put some commercials there?
Well, actually, I've said for a while that I support the notion of reintroducing intermissions for movies that are over a certain length.
They do that at the Vista.
Do they?
Tarantino's theater.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And there's actually a couple of countries. I think India does it as well. I support the idea of let's say movies that are over 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just as a random number. I support it. There's a couple of benefits. Number one, it gives you a bathroom break. Number two, even if you don't need a bathroom break, it gets frustrating when people keep getting up and down to walk in front of you to go to the bathroom. That takes that away. It'll reduce how many people pull out their phones during movies because they'll know, hey, I got a break coming up in about 15 minutes. I can check my phone then. I just think it would make for a better experience. Again, only for movies over a certain length, but that would also create an opportunity for the movie theaters. Like, hey, we've got 6-minute break.
Yeah.
We'll play. You could literally play 3 full movie trailers. You could literally play like 4 commercials and a movie trailer. I mean, it would give them an opportunity to play some stuff in there. I see no problem with that.
By the way, here's the poster. So it is real.
Oh, there you, and it's actually got the character name
Eve
in it.
Tessmacher.
Then that is, I haven't seen this one. That's great. Miss Tessmacher. I hope he says that. I want to hear him say that so bad. All right, what's next?
iCritic, I already showed up 25 minutes late for movies. I now have to show up 30. Seems harsh for the 10:50 showing of Final Reckoning.
Yeah, and again, the real tricky thing is you can always show up 25 minutes late, but what happens if one day they decide, for this movie, we'll just show 18 minutes of trailers? Now you've missed the first 7 or 8 minutes of the movie. It's really underhanded and a real bastard of a thing for them to do. I really hate it. All right, what's next?
Yabba Dabba Doo says, I'm super excited for Fantastic Four, But I must admit, the only one I'm not sold on yet, performance-wise, is Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic. He just seems to be playing it a lot more reserved,
That's because that's the way the character is written for the movie.
and they directed it that way.
If he's playing it that way, then if there was another actor in the role, they would also be playing it a little bit more reserved. They're doing a Reed Richards, which, by the way, this has been in the comics. A Reed Richards who is more of a little more socially reserved academic. That is a comic accurate, depending on the run you read of a Reed Richards we've had. So if that's the way they're doing this character, then whatever actor they put in there would be playing it this way, just maybe not as well. So we'll see how they do it overall. Remember, right now, all we've heard is single isolated lines. Are we safe? I don't know. We will protect you. We have dinner every night, 7:00. It's only been these quick little isolated lines. So listen, Pedro Pascal is one of the world great actors right now. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt until we see the movie. Then we'll see how it plays out. All right, what's next?
Wesley Cunningham finally caught 28 days and weeks later. First one looked like it was filmed on a potato, but both were really good. Like the Alien to Aliens type progression from intimate horror to more action. Hype for 28 years now.
Yeah, like I said, I wasn't all that hyped for 20. I mean, I was interested as anybody, but I haven't been super hyped for 28 years later until CinemaCon. And when they gave us the presentation at CinemaCon, I'm like, damn. I mean, and the trailers have also been very good. The trailers started getting me kind of interested. And then the presentation at CinemaCon made me go, damn, I cannot wait to see this. And the sequel. 28 years later, Bone Temple, I think is the name of the sequel.
Yeah.
That's already they actually are done production on that now. That looks crazy good too. So I'm actually quite excited for these movies.
That was the last one. We're right at 2 hours.
All right, guys. And with that all down, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in all those questions and comments and stuff. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Again, big thank you to Robert Meyer Burnett for having been here. Of course, big thank you to all of you for being here. I appreciate you all very much. And don't forget, guys, bring this up. AMC Theaters, they make movies worse. Reminder to all my fellow film fans, do not buy AMC's popcorn, soda, or anything. They steal your time. Do not give them more of your money. That'll do it for us for today, guys. We hope you come back and join us again tomorrow for some more shenanigans. We'll look forward to seeing you then. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.